And then we're going to start standing up. So I'm going to get you to come and stand so we can get into our breathing, our diaphragmatic breathing, and we can start to release tension that might have built up around the pelvis. And then we're going to start to slowly transition downwards. But to start off with, connect with your feet. Feet are so incredibly important for pelvic floor health. So we want to try and get away from squeezed toes and spread our toes out. I always talk about hobbit feet. So just take your weight from one foot to the other and stretch your toes out as much as you possibly can and try and create hobbit-like big fat feet and squeeze them and press them down into the ground. And then as you push them down into the ground, kind of recoil upwards right up through the crown of your head. Roll one shoulder up and back, the other shoulder up and back. And then I'm going to get you just to start to hula hoop your hips. Hands can be out or on your hips. But imagine you've got a hula hoop and miraculously it's just staying up, even though you're hula hooping quite slowly. Bend the knees and see if you can make this really kind of juicy. And then start to breathe. Start to loosen your lower jaw. So go, like that. Give yourself a yawn. Ah. And start to pull deep breaths from the back of your nostrils down into the bottom of your lungs, into the lower part of your lungs at the back, and specifically here, underneath your armpits. So for this class, I like to say, imagine you are breathing into gills like a fish. Good. So take your hips in the other direction, take your arms out so you've got space to breathe. Make sure your shoulders are sliding down your back. So we want to avoid this at all costs. Imagine you have weights, like fishing weights, at the base of your shoulder blades. So your shoulder blades are sliding down your back. Squeeze your shoulders together slightly so you activate the muscles between your shoulders and keep circling those hips around. Maybe bend your knees a bit more. Maybe try and take the hands up, so nice and wide hands, and breathe right here underneath your armpits. Good. Nice, full breathing. What we're doing when we circle the pelvis is we're starting to release the psoas muscles, releasing tension in the lower back, lubricating into the hip joints, and getting a wonderful vascular flow through the pelvic organs. So this is a wonderful thing for us ladies to be doing on a regular basis. Now drop down, so knees are on top of ankles, and then push the floor away as you breathe in and come up. Exhaling down, inhaling up. As you take your hands up, breathe underneath your armpits. So it feels like you are spreading your ribs apart, fanning your ribs apart. That's it. Up and down. Stay down. Keep your knees on top of your ankles. Bent knees, up and over with one hand. Breathe here. Drop that hand, up and over with the other hand. Breathe here. And again, this time though, take it all the way to your toes. So you lengthen the whole side of the body. Breathe here. And then again, breathing here. Beautiful. Toes in a little bit, hands here. Release the shoulders. Drop one shoulder, look over the other shoulder, breathe out. Breathe in and then sigh the breath out. Open your mouth and let every little bit of breath out of your lungs as you rinse your shoulders out. Imagine all the tension around your shoulders, around your neck, is literally being squeezed out like a mop, releasing everything out. Beautiful. And again. Then come up and lift your tail behind you. So we're going to stick a tail onto our sacrum here. And here we've got it lifted behind us. And then tuck your tail underneath. So imagine it's here. And then it's pulling up behind you. And then it's tucking under. So you're just working on your pelvis, mobilizing through the hip joints here. Just revolving one way and then the other. And then breathe with it. So as we lift your tail, breathe in. And as you tuck your tail, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now see if you can get that ripple of movement right up your spine. So you lift your heart center and then you round your back. You breathe in more deeply. You squeeze the breath out. So we're again mobilizing the pelvis, starting to release tension between those sitting bones. Now this time, leave your tail behind you and then start to swing it from side to side. So swish your tail one side and then the other. Keep your weight of your knees on top of your ankles and on top of your heels. So you can feel your heels really pressing into the ground, quite light through your toes. Swish, swish. Now we're going to get into the inner thigh muscles. So do a big swish. Keep your bottom over the side and pull your other toes towards you here. This knee stays on top of the ankle. Squeeze thigh muscles in. This is working hard here. Toes pull back. Squeeze your hobbit-like feet. Pull your toes back. Squeeze your hobbit-like feet. Pull your toes back. Rub your inner thigh muscles. These guys go right into your pelvic floor, so we need to release them. Good, and then swish your tail to the other side. Pull those toes back. Make sure this knee isn't doing weird things. Directly on top of ankle. Squeeze thigh muscles into thigh bone. Pull hobbit toes back. Squeeze them. Pull back. Squeeze them. Pull them back. Rub the inner thigh. Like so. Beautiful. Come back again. I'm just going to give you a little Elvis twist to release those hips. One side and then the other. This helps waist as well. Just give your hips a little release, release. Beautiful. So, getting the heart rate up a little bit. I'm going to get you to grab your strap if you've got one. Otherwise, you can use the back of your hands. Take the strap around the bottom ribs, your floating ribs. Now, we're going to do getting tall against the wall in a moment, but we're doing this first. So I just want you to make sure that you are in pretty good alignment before you start to breathe. We want the ribs to sit on top of the pelvis. So if you habitually lock your knees and push your pelvis forward, soften your knees and let your behind be behind you. See if you can stop the head poke, bring the head in. Good. Roll one shoulder up and down, the other shoulder up and down. Now, loosen your jaw. Softly close your mouth. And try and breathe so that you push the belt away. So you want to breathe down here, underneath your armpits, out to the sides. Exhaling. You can bring your ribs back in again. At the back, pushing the belt away, releasing. So as you breathe, you feel the tightening, and then as you exhale, if you put your finger there, you can feel a little gap between the belt and your ribs. Increasing the exhalation, get that gap, breathe in. So focus on the exhale. If you find that by using conscious breathing, you suddenly start to feel a little bit panicked, it's probably because you're focusing on the inhale. I want you to focus on the exhale. The inhale tends to come of its own accord. So focus on the exhale. Just like if you have asthma, you want to focus on the exhale. The diaphragm will bring more breath into your lungs. Focus on that exhale. Calms the central nervous system down. So remembering we talked about the vagus nerve, and the only way we stimulate that vagus nerve, which is like the super highway into that calming parasympathetic nervous system, is to extend the exhalation. A panicked person doesn't breathe slowly. A person who's locked in fight and flight breathes rapidly and in the chest. So when we're breathing down here, and we're extending our exhalation, we are telling the central nervous system that we're safe, that we can start to release tension. Good, so let's take that away. I'm going to get you just to come against the wall now. So hopefully you've got a bit of wall space for this. We do have our feet, so we have our feet straight in front of us. Look at your middle toes, not your big toes. Pretend you have got those hobbit-like feet. So stretch them out, spread your toes, lift your toes, and then slowly place them down. We want to have about an inch between the heel and the wall, so there's space for your bottom. Now your tail, which is attached to your sacrum in this, is going through a hole in the wall, and there's somebody on the other side of the wall, and they're gently pulling your tail through the wall, okay? So if you are habitually pushing your pelvis forward, now it's going to feel weird because you're having to push, not like this, but pressing back through the sacrum into the wall. Now rest your shoulders into the wall as well, and draw your chin back, give yourself a double chin. Roll one shoulder up, slide it down the wall. Palm is forward, back of the hand on the wall. Same thing with the other side. Palm forward, back of the hand on the wall, forearms on the wall. Now, for most of us, our ribs will start to press out. So we want to draw the ribs in. Now, to do this, I like to imagine there's a half an orange between the shoulder blades, and you're trying to squeeze the orange into the wall to get the juice out, and that'll help draw the ribs here in towards your spine and switch on your deep transverse abdominal muscles. Imagine you have half oranges underneath the arches of your feet as well, and you want to squeeze the orange down. So you want to squeeze the juice out of the oranges, press down, and then very slightly out with your feet. So down and slightly out, so your inner arches get a little bit of an energetic lift. Good. Now the back of your head. So this is the weird bit. Press the back of your head into the wall. So the ridge here, the bit that pokes out, that's the bit you want to press into the wall. If you can't reach right now, it's okay. It's probably because you've got a little bit of rounding going on and quite a poke. Over time, we can release that. So just imagine energetically try and press the back of your head towards the wall. Good. So we're going to go through a little bit of checking in here. Feet, press down and out. Squeeze those oranges. Your bum is then pulled backwards. Imagine somebody's got your tail, pulling it through the wall. Squeeze the orange between your shoulders. Press the back of your hands and your forearms into the wall. Press the ridge of your head into the wall, and then slightly, like half a millimeter, slide it up the wall. So you gently stretch the back of your neck. Now you're going to need to breathe like a fish here, underneath your armpits, into your gills, because otherwise we'll be moving our shoulders up and down. We don't want that. So keep pressing down with your feet, back with your bum, back between your shoulders, back with your arms, back with your head. Breathing into your gills, down with your feet, back with your bum, back with your arms, back with your head. So we are imprinting the wall into our back. So we're changing where we are in space when we stand. I'm going to get you to just come away from the wall, and you'll feel like the Tin Man. So give your arms a little shake here. Drop your head and roll your head and your shoulders around. So just imagine there's a big coil of rope and you're unwinding it. Focus on your exhalation. Unwind, unwind, and then come back. And I want you to rearrange your head so it's sitting bang on top of your neck again. Your shoulders are sliding down your back. Your palms are slightly open. So you're not like that. You're open with your hands. You're pressing down so most of the weight is in your heels. And just spend a minute or so breathing in perfect alignment. Now, if you are habitually standing like this or like this, suddenly going into alignment is going to feel like you're about to fall over. So you feel like a Neanderthal. You feel like you're all like this. But believe you me, you will find that your pelvic floor and your breathing is so much more enhanced when you are in good alignment. So one of the hardest bits for us ladies is to realize that our behind is meant to be behind us. And most of us have spent decades sucking our tummy in and tucking our bum under, posteriorly rotating. So to suddenly be told to let your behind be behind you, let your lower belly go, and to lengthen upwards can be quite discombobulating. So go with it. It takes a little bit of time, but you'll find that sooner rather than later, you're going to love feeling really nice and tall and like you can breathe well when you're in good alignment.